That's a 7.5-ton vehicle. That's operated by a crew of 3. We've got a driver who's team leader. We have a collector. We offer job opportunities to people with learning disabilities. It's another one of the social objectives is inclusion. So we have a team of 3 out there. They've got a set round to do. They go out and do that round, come back. If they're full up, they come back at lunchtime to unload, and if not, they'll stay out all day.
We have a couple of what we call mini depots as well, one in Predeston and one in Tiverton. So if the guys, well, to save the mileage, save them coming all the way back here, and they've got an alternative. And what we've got on those sites is skips. And we then hire the council skip lorry, and they will bring them back and tip them into our bays.
So that cuts down the mileage, because we don't want a whole fleet of 7.5-ton trucks travelling everywhere all the time. So we try to keep as mileage and as carbon footprint down by getting them to unload. What's going on here?
Right, this is our unloading area we're standing within. Various bays. So what will happen, the guys will come back, they'll back their lorries into the appropriate bay, which is why we've got all the yellow markers there and the little stoppers for the wheels to make sure everything's done safely. Any textiles, any carrier bags, any batteries, anything like that, they unload by hand for the back of the lorries and down the footpath to make everything safe. The vehicles then brought into this area to be unloaded by the forklifts, as Paul's just explained. So, the newspaper shed there, spare bay, which is just an overflow bay, glass bay, we sell all our glasses mixed, so it's sorted by laser. The glass will go to a company called Recresco. Recresco, it's R-E-C-R-E-S-C-O. An actual laser sorted into colours, where the clear glass is kept in this country for remanufacturing to outer pops, things like that. The rest of it is sent off to Spain, where it's sorted out. The glass is 100% recyclable, so it can be used over and over and over again. At the moment, the glass, it's sold county-wide, so we sell it to the council, who they'll sell it on to Recresco, and that way, by selling larger quantities of it, we get a better price for it. And at the moment, the price of glass is just over £18 a tonne. And on the end of that, we've got a plastic bay. I'll just explain a bit about the newspaper quality. So the newspaper, this all goes up to Aylesford in Kent, which is the biggest newspaper recycling plant in Europe. Now they, just the scale of how big it is, they have a 44-tonne lorry, the equivalent of once an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So they are constant, and they're producing newspaper on a reel about 9 metres long at 60 miles an hour. So it's a huge operation. The newspaper at the moment is £45 a tonne. We're getting paid for that. The quality of it's quite important. The worst contaminants for newspaper are brown paper and glass, funnily enough. They've got all the technology they need to remove any metal, any plastics, bits like that. You know, when they get rid of the ink from the newspaper, they lift it. So they dip it in a solution, and anything printed is then lifted off the paper. So because brown paper is obviously dyed, they need to add so many chemicals to purify it, it destroys everything else that's in with it, which is why they don't like brown paper. And glass, it just turns to paste, which is just like sand, and it ruins all their machinery, really. Very important, the quality of the newspaper. And if we do get it too bad, they will get negative feedback and they will send it back. Worst case scenario, they refuse to take it in the future. But we're very good at that. Last year we actually had compliments and we received a bonus for them for the quality of the newspaper. So that went down to buy lockers in the tea room for the lads as a thank you for the efforts.
Yeah, the staff decided on what that bonus that we got. It was a staff decision on what we should spend it on, and they wanted lockers in the staff rooms, so that's what we got.
So, should you not put brown paper in your recycling?
Well, that's
Not in our
not
system.
in our system.
You live in mid-Devon.
Oh, yeah, we operate to the mid-Devon area, to the mid-Devon parish. And because we're independent, as most of the other recycling companies are, they've all built up their schemes gradually and they all collect different materials. We do instruct no brown paper. We used to collect brown paper along with wrapping paper and cardboard and sold it on as a lower grade, but within that there's not a lot to see there really. Probably about 6 tons of glass in there at the moment. Yeah.
Can I just say something about glass? It is a problem insofar as in England we import a lot of green glass in the form of wine and beer bottles, little stubby beer bottles. And we export in clear glass. As biggest exports whiskey, gin, Newcastle Brown, funnily enough, and jams. Massive export of jams. So we're exporting all this clear glass and importing all this green glass. So there's a big imbalance there, and that's why we have to export back to where it came from.
Well, it's a mixed bag of plastic and steel and aluminium. We only collect from our domestic customers HDPE Type 2, the milk bottles, but only the white plastic. That way we get a better price for it because it's a higher quality. We'd like to be able to accept clear plastics and other types, but we just don't have the room in our lorries at the moment to collect it. Now the reason that's all mixed, we've got a machine down the bottom, a huge sorting plant, we'll show you in a minute. But as far as I'm aware at the moment, it's not actually running sorting Tetra Paks, milk bottles. So I'll just explain what happens is we've got a main feed belt. Now all of that material goes into that feed belt mixed. It then goes onto a vibrating plate which separates the materials out, just levels it off really so it's not all built up on top of each other, and that gives the machine a chance to sort it properly, more accurately. From the vibrating plate it goes on to what's called an eddy current sorter. So the eddy current sorter consists of a magnet and an electromagnet. So any steel will stick to the magnet, be taken underneath and dropped into one conveyor belt, into a steel baler and baled. Any aluminium is passed over the electromagnet. By passing it over the electromagnet, you get an electromagnetic field around it, so it's then repelled off the eddy current sorter onto another conveyor belt to an aluminium baler where it's processed. Anything else just falls off the end of the sorter, which would be all the plastic bottles and any contaminants that might slip through the system. We'll then have a person up on a picking station removing any contaminants. We'll show you the plant again in a bit more detail. Tetra Pak Bay. Now, we don't actually sell the Tetra Paks, we don't get any profit for them. We do it for brownie points. They're extremely valuable. We were the first curbside collection in the UK to start collecting Tetra Paks. We were asked to do so by Tetra Pak UK. Now, Tetra Pak is what we call virgin pulp, virgin fibres. So they've never been used, they've never been shredded down, never been recycled, and that's why they're so valuable. So people like Costa Coffee are using them for manufacturing brown paper bags, strong materials like that. So what we get, apart from the brownie points for them, we get recycling credits. So for every ton of materials we avoid sending to landfill, the council will then pay us what it would have costed them to landfill that. I think at the moment it's about £45 a tonne. So the deal with these is we get £45 a tonne from the council for not landfilling it, and then Tetra Pak have agreed that they will cover the haulage for these. So it's really advertising for them, encouraging people to recycle.